Hello everyone, how are you? Good to see you today. Hello, hi Ian, hi BJ Bonnie, and Tia. I'm glad you're here, Tia. Hi Ina. Welcome. I'm running a little bit behind, so yes, I'm a little bit breathless. But you know what? We're here. So it's time for all of us to breathe and have drama-free Friday, isn't it? All of us, including me. Hi Dorothy, Travis, hi Josie, hi Cheryl, Frederica, hi Jane, JR, hi Auntie Michael JZ, hi Barbara, Angelica, Tori, hi Bella. Forgot your name, so I'm just going to call you Bella. How's that? Hi, Nancy. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Amelie. Animal Lector. Paloma, I think. I think that's right. Hi, Alice. Good to see you. Nancy made a journal just for her Mandala madness. Cool. Hi, Donna. Kuka, I don't know if that's right. Hi, Nicole. Via Jamaica visiting Philadelphia. How cool is that? Hey, Dana. Sharon, okay. I may have that written down someplace, but I'm going to write it down again, just in case. Hi, Beth. Nancy, you can share a picture on Twitter if you're on Twitter, or you can show it to me tomorrow if you're in the group. Boy, do I look crazy today. I'm not kidding you. It was a race to get here today. I do mean it was a race to get here today. Well, that's cool. Barbara says she repurposed an old one just for Mandala Madness. Good deal. Painted a 16-page journal black. Good. Okay, Nancy. Too shy for show and share. Okay, that's fine. Dana's multitasking. You guys are busy today. Hi, Studio Creative Space. I don't remember your name. You'll have to tell me if you want me to call you by name. So, I do have the air on. I'm still hot. It was just a rush till the last second. I still didn't get everything quite as prepared as I intended. But, you know, you guys are here for Drama Free Friday, so we're just going to play today anyway. Yeah, so there you go. Okay. Nancy's Mandala journal has 48 pages because she's really mad about mandalas. Me too. Me too. Danielle. Okay, thanks, Danielle. Hi, Ellen. Let's see. Is that right? Ellen? I think that's it. Ellen? I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here. I am Barb Owen, and it's HowToGetCreative.com show called Drama Free Friday. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining me today. Hi, Roesta. Hi, Tallulah. It's so nice to have everybody here. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, it is a little humid, even though the air conditioner is on. You know, when you're just rushing around. Of course, I look like I've been rushing around. I'm a little haggard today. Okay, Ellen, thanks. JZ says the Dollar Tree has mold for frozen pops in stock. And she had suggested this before, that using the frozen pop molds would be great for doing paste paper to mix up the paints. So she said they have them in stock at Dollar Tree. So if you're looking for those, there you go. Thanks, Nancy. She says, you know, this show really makes a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. Yeah, mine too. Mine too. Hi, Cookie. Oh, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for telling me that. Thanks for letting us know that you were new. Oh, Ellen, you're too kind. You're too kind. Hi, Signa. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get crack-a-lackin' so we can play. So this is called Drama Free Friday for a reason, and it's called that because we just put everything outside our creative spaces for a little bit. The world's crazy. We all know that. Full of crazy people. We know that. Some of them are us. That's okay. We know that. And so what we're going to be doing for the next couple of hours, give or take a little bit, we're just going to play and just leave all the drama outside. Outside, where it is banished for a couple of hours. My philosophy is if there's something you can do about the craziness that's out there, you ought to be out there doing it, not in here watching me. Otherwise, if you're here watching me, we're just going to take a breather, take a breath, and enjoy some creative time. Hi, Becky. Hi, Janice. Hi, Carol. Anybody that I happen to miss, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So, thanks for joining me. We're nice crazy. That's right, Jane. We're nice crazy. Hi, Dorothy. Yeah, Dorothy says, hi, Deborah. Hi, is it Jania? Jania Jones, hello. If that's not right, you can tell me. Dorothy says the rest are crazy. There's nothing wrong with us. That's right. Hi, Marion. Okay, so I'm really tickled that you're here. Let me, I need to adjust something on my computer a little bit. Sorry, I just needed to. I couldn't see something on my screen, so I needed to make a slight adjustment. Okay, I think we're good to go now. So last week we did, we talked about rub-ons, and so I wanted to show you the finished mug. I did have pictures. There are close-up pictures where you can see it much better on my blog, which you can find at HowToGetCreative.com. When you type that in, the very first little window that you see in the upper left-hand corner will have a picture from this particular stream. There's a whole blog post written about it, and you can go there and you can click on the pictures and you can see much better. Hello, Yvonne. Hi, Lorraine. Haven't seen you for a while. Good to have you here. Will there be mandalas on the paste paper? You could do mandalas on paste paper. I'm not going to, but you could, certainly. So here is the mug after I finished it. Now, I will tell you that last week I showed you a couple of ceramic mugs that I had put mandalas on, and so I tested them out to see how well they were going to work. They don't work very well if you're going to use the mug. If you're going to just use it for a decorative purpose, it's perfect. But if you're going to use the mug, like I put it in the microwave, we hand washed. I knew better than to put it in the dishwasher. I hand washed it. And even after several, not too many, but several uses, the mandala wanted to start coming off. So I would not use them for anything other than decorative purposes. Hello, CB. Thanks, I'm glad you like it. So I just wanted to show it to you. So there's what it looks like from far away. So we'll take a look at it up close. So that, let's see if I can get it. This is as close as I can get it for you so you can see all the details. It really did turn out really nice. Hi, Christine. So, hi, Tracy. So this is, hi, Kimberly. So this is a mug that I got at, I actually picked it up at Hobby Lobby. So I paid for it to have all this distressing on it. And yeah, that's the way it came. So it's some kind of metal. And I wiped it down with a baby wipe before I started putting the mandala rub-ons on it. So I fit all of them on. Some of them I cut in half. So I fit everything on that would fit. And then I went back, and these are all rub-ons from Tim Holtz, from one of his, what's he called? Remnant rubs. So that's what all of these are. So that's where the words came from. Now some of them, like this, I combined several to make one. Looks better than the average mug. There you go. Thanks. Now with rub-ons, you can see what's behind it. And so in the case here where there was some distressing behind it, you see that through the rub-ons. So you have to know that. It's the same thing with the rub-ons like this. Like one of the mandalas, you're going to see the distressing come right through the back part. So I'm just turning it around. So like this mandala is part of this one, and you can see the distressing showing through it right there. But I like that. You know, some people might not like that, but I like it. So. Oh, Signa, I'm sorry. I'm glad you're here, though. So there you go. And there you can see how it turned out. And what's inside it is a plethora of markers and pens. So this particular mug holds a bunch. To give you an idea of its diameter, let's see if I can do this without dumping everything. It's approximately 5 inches in diameter. Okay, so across at the widest point, it's about 5 inches. So that gives you an idea of how big it is. Okay? Yeah. So there you go. That is how the mug turned out. So now I can put that out of the way. It's much better than the yogurt container I was using, for sure. Couple of announcements before I show you the fabric. Mandala Madness officially got kicked off this week. Kicked off as in started. And tomorrow is the first Mandala Madness show and share. If you are signed up for the course, you should have received an email. Or you will receive, I guess, let's see, we schedule all that stuff ahead. I can't remember if your email has already come out or if it comes out in the morning. But anyway, you'll get the link in your email. So you'll know how to get to the live show and share. Hi, Cindy. The Nightbot is just a program that allows us to put things in to help. So that's all it is. Yes, you can come on without a camera. You just need, all you need to do is disable your video. It's a, you know, it's like a click and you're not on video. So you can do that. Or you can wait for the recording. Either way, it's perfectly fine. So, hi Judy, good to see you. All right, so anyway, Mandala Madness, the first show and share is tomorrow. If you have not yet joined Mandala Madness, it's not too late. You can join it at any time during the course. And the course will be available later as well. But if you want to participate in the live show and share sessions, you need to get in this first go round because those won't happen again. So, oh, not true, not true. Okay, so that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. And those of you that are VIP members of HowToGetCreative.com, your VIP class is on Sunday, which is unusual, but it's going to get bumped to Sunday for July and August. So you should get an email, or should have gotten an email about that as well. Okay, enough of that. So here we go. Last week we did fabric, so we're going to take a look at that real quickly, the way that it turned out, and then we're going to do paste paper. So let me, it doesn't make any difference how much room you have, you're never going to have enough. You know what I mean? Never going to have enough. And anyone who is a streamer or who does videos or who is creative at all knows what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. So we'll be able to show this to you. Now, this is actually a little bit brighter in color. I'll show you on the other camera as well so you can see, but I wanted to give you kind of the overview. So this is one of the pieces. So if you want to see what this was all about, this was what we did last week on the stream, on the live show. And so you can go back and take a look at that. But I just want to give you a quick overview after it was all done, and so you can see every bit of it. So there's the bottom. And then I'm going to scooch over the other direction. Yeah, Chance and Charlie were loving it. I had it on the floor, and Chance and Charlie just went over and planted their big fat Siamese butts right on it. So there's that piece, and then the other piece is like this. So a cool colorway and a warm colorway. Hi, Anna. So just a quick little take a look so you can see how it turned out. So this was printed with wood blocks, wood stamping blocks. I think they're actually some kind of composite material, but they're reminiscent of wooden printing blocks. And so this is acrylic paint that's for fabric that I stamped with, and then the background is all done with tumble dye spray inks, spray dyes actually. So we'll take a look at it here so you can get a little truer picture of the color. Let's see if I can get it here where you can, there you go. So, and it does have, you'll see some reflective little bits. The tumble dyes have a glitter that is suspended in their dye in silver and gold, and so I did dilute, everything is diluted because I wanted light colors. And so if you see things kind of glistening in the light, that's because that's the glitter. Okay, so that is just so you can see the truer color on this camera. And I want you to be able to see the glitter after it dried. It really sparkles once it's dry. But my favorite thing is it doesn't come off. Yeah, I'm not a glitter girl. We know this about me. And here's the other one, just so you can see again a real close-up of the color. No, I'm not sure what I'm going to use the fabric for. I really enjoy just making fabric and papers as far as like decorating them, because then I have them ready and I can do things with them when inspiration strikes, you know. So you can see a lot of the glitter right in here. So no, I don't have a specific plan for them, but I love the way the designs came out. So these are combinations of lots of, well, several blocks, and yeah, I really like the way they came out. So that's that. Okay, so we can put this aside. You thought there was something wrong with your eyes? Hello, Race Man. Yeah, you know, I'm sure that one of these will make their way, at least one of these will make its way onto a journal cover. That is for sure. Okay, let me put that aside, out of the way. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do paste paper. And hey, Tammy. And anyone that I happen to miss, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're watching this on the recording later, thanks for watching the recording. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. I truly believe I have the best audience on the web. I truly believe that. So I'm going to show you a few pieces of paste paper, and then we're going to make some. Now you'll find links to the supplies. I tried to link everything that I was using in the description box below the video, and also there are links to 2 other paste paper videos that are actually sample classes from HowToGetCreative.com. We have 12 sample video classes online on YouTube so that you can see them, see what a sample video class is like. So you will find links to those below this video. You'll find those in the description box. So you scroll down, and where it says show more, you can click that and scroll down and you can see it. So if you need answers to more questions, you'll be able to do that. Okay, hang on a second. I missed what Steven said. Let's see. Steven says he tried the technique with art foamies and it did work, but the images were not as crisp. Okay, because Steven Bland asked me last week if the art foamies would work with that technique with the like block printing on the fabric, and I didn't know because I didn't have any. So that's Steven's report. He did try it, it did work, but the images weren't as crisp. Okay, let's see, what else? What else did I miss here? Hey Shannon, good to see you. Hi Scotty. So okay, I think that was all I missed. Thanks for sharing that, Stephen, and I'm glad I saw it. If anytime you want to put something in the chat for me to see, put it in caps. It's not a guarantee that I'll see it, but I'm more likely to see it. So if you put it in all caps, it's not yelling, it's perfectly fine to get my attention. Okay, so I'll explain a little bit more about paste paper, but those sample video classes are there, and I go into even more detail in those videos than what we have time to do here. So let's take a look at some of the paste papers that I did. Actually, I did these last night. Every time I do paste paper, like any other kind of technique that I haven't done for a while, I have to review it. So, you know, you might think that, oh, she's done this a million times and so she'll remember it. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So this is a good close-up of paste paper. Okay. Here's another, this was just a little bitty sample that I did just for, just because it was laying on my desk. So this was a tiny little sample. Both of these, this one and the one I just showed you, these are done on Canson mixed media paper that already had something on them. So this had brayer, I was cleaning off my brayer when I was jelly plate printing, monoprinting. So both of these are done on a sturdier paper. The cool part about paste paper is you can do it on any kind of paper. It can be sturdy paper, it can be thin paper, anything. Yeah. This is done on, this started out on paper that was 11 by 17, and it was a colored paper. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So you can see a little bit better. So just to give you some ideas, this one has metallic paint on it, so you can see the reflectivity of the metallic. This one only has one layer of paint on it. Many times I do multiple layers. This one only had one layer, and it started on orange paper. Okay. This one had something on the paper that I wanted to get rid of, and so I scraped some black gesso on it, so you can see what the paints look like when they go over the black gesso. This again has metallic paint on it, so you can see it reflecting in the light. There's another one. I like having some that are just kind of messy looking like this, because the black behind it gives it that kind of messy quality. I also like others that don't have that messy quality. So, you know, I like having the variety and the variety of colors. And this one started on lime green paper. Okay, so those are examples of paste papers. Okay, so we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So these are done, or if I don't like them, I can come right over the top of them with another coat of paint, and I can change it completely. But those were all 11 by 17 papers. You can use any size paper. It does tend to dry pretty quickly, so you may, you'll notice on my big papers there were lots of sections. That was because the paste dries, the paste and paint dries pretty quickly, and you've got to be able to work and do the texturizing on it. So, okay, thanks, I'm glad you liked it. The color shift paint, I don't know because I'm not familiar with that yet. So, All right. But let me know if you try it. Let me know if it works. All right, so one of the components that you have to have for doing the paste paper is some kind of paste. This is what I use. There are different things you can use. You'll find that out also if you watch those 2 videos I referenced that are in the description below this video. You can use wallpaper paste or starch, liquid starch. There's different things that you can use. Different people, I'm sure there's people in the chat that have used other things as well. I like this because it's inexpensive. Hi, Margaret. I love this because it's cheap. The link that's in the description box below the video, you get 3 boxes of it for like $5. Shipping will probably cost that much. But I will tell you, 3 boxes of this is, for most people, a lifetime supply. So what I do with it is I take a jug, see if I can zoom out a little bit more so you can tell that this is actually a jug of water. This is distilled water, and I use the whole gallon, and I mix the entire box of the paste with this gallon of water. Okay, let me tell you how to do this, because sometimes people have trouble with this, and I've had trouble with it when I didn't follow my own directions, right? You want to get a bowl or a pan or something, and you want to put some of this distilled water in a big bowl or pan, and you need a whisk, and you want to stir this in, pour this into the water. It's a plastic bag that has the powder in it. I'll see if I can show you. Okay, comes like this in a little baggie. So I open this because I want to mix up the whole thing. You don't have to, but this is how I do it, so it's always ready for me. So I take that bag, I open it up, I put probably a quart of the distilled water in the bowl or pan and whisk some of the powder, not all of it, but some of the powder, get it started. And then I add some more water and I whisk, and then I add more powder and I whisk, and I go back and forth. That's how you're going to avoid lumps. I have tried dumping water out of this, dumping the powder in, putting the lid on, and shaking it like mad to shake it up inside the jug. Yeah, that doesn't work. That does not work. That just makes a huge, huge mess. So you want to mix it all up, and then it tells you to let it sit, I think, for 30 minutes or an hour or something. And you want to do this with cold water, it says on the box. So you want to mix it up, and then you want to use a funnel of some kind with a rather large opening, because the paste mixture is kind of thick initially, and put it back in your jug. And then I label it, and so it's art paste, and I put the date on it. I have had this stuff in my space for literally for years and never had it go bad. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you that that's what will happen to you, but that is my experience. So, and then I just tape the little box on there so I know what it is, what's inside. Okay? So that is how I do that. It is called on the box, this is by Elmer's, the people that make glue, it is called paper mache art paste. So it's probably meant for paper mache, but a friend of mine a long time ago, I took a class with her, and this was what she used, and this is what I use, and it works great. I've also done it with wallpaper paste. I've also done it with liquid starch. And so you get different results with each thing. This is what I'm going to be using today. Okay? Okay. So this is what I'm starting out with. You can mix your art paste in different ways with your paints, because we're going to mix these with acrylic paints. If you're not going to do a whole lot of it, then you can use something like this, which is just an plastic ice cube tray. I've even worked into a foam egg carton, but that leaks after a while. So you can do this, and you can mix it up. Hi, Karen. Josie said she got some lumps, got tired of trying to mash out the lumps. Yeah, Yeah. She let it sit, and to her surprise, the lumps disappeared. There you go. So, I mean, it's great. I love having everybody share their experience because, you know, it helps everybody. Because I'm going to be working on larger pieces of paper today, I'm going to actually mix them up in these little cups. And what I have prepared to control the cups is I have a pan. So this is like a cake pan. And I've lined it with foil. And so I'm just going to put the cups of paint in here, and I'm going to fill this with color. So we're going to take a minute, and I'm going to mix the paints because I literally did not have time to get it done before we started. So we're just going to take a minute. Those of you watching the recording can just fast forward through this. Those of you that are here live are going to have to put up with mixing paint. Okay? Oh, thanks, Lorraine. All this information is included in those 2 classes, sample video classes too. Okay, so we're going to put, and I usually shake up, you heard me shaking this, I shake it up, and then I'm going to start out by pouring, maybe, I don't know, about a little less than half. So we'll start out in an attempt to avoid spilling these. We won't fill them all. These are not heavy cups by any means. They're just little plastic cups. Paper cups work fine too. Little containers work great. So I'm just going to start out with a few cups here. We're going to put some paint in them. Okay, that's 6 to start with. Let's see. Okay. So this is a really good way to use up acrylic paint that you're not fond of. Okay. So this is not one of my fondest colors. This is Naples yellow. It's good for some things. It's just not my very favorite color. I tend to prefer paints that have more pigment. So sometimes I mix other things into this. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do with this. You can use craft paint also to do this easily. This is another paint I'm not fond of. This is the Daler Rowney Neon Orange. I'm not crazy about this one, so I'm going to put these together. And the question always comes up, how much paint do you use? And the answer is, you just try it and you just try it. There's no, I don't have a hard and fast rule about how much paint I put in here. I mix it up, and then I use a stick. And you really only want to mix what you're going to use because it doesn't hold real well. So the consistency is about that of whipping cream before you whip it. Is what, or if you're starting to whip it and it starts to get a little bit thick, it's kind of like that. I don't know that that helps you see it, but anyway. So, and you can always adjust it. If it's too thin, you can always add more of the art paste. Okay? So, we're going to call that one done. So, I'm going to put those away because I'm done with those little babies. So I'm going to use some tube paints. Now this one is one of my favorite colors, so this is not part of the use it because you don't like it rule. So let me squeeze some of this in. But sometimes, you know how your tube paints can start getting thick on you? And that's kind of the case with this. It's getting kind of goopy a little bit. That's why I'm using these up, because I really need to replenish the tubes. Get some fresh tubes of paint going. The tube paints take a little longer to get them to dissolve in the art paste, but you just kind of have to be the boss of the paint. Like this one is not mixing up very well. So when I use and I apply the paint with sponge foam brushes, and so when I put the foam brush in there, I'll be able to mash it up a little bit more. So we're going to call that. That one looks a little thin. I'm going to put a little bit more in. Hi, Shoe. Okay, so we'll put in a little bit more paint here. So we'll mix up about 12 colors here and go for it. Okay, so that is bright aqua green. This one is Master's Touch Light Magenta. Now, I find that this works a little bit better with paints that tend to have a little bit of a transparent quality. Last night I was using a red when I was getting ready for this. I was using one of the red paints. I don't know which one it was actually, which company it was or whatever, but it was a red from a tube. And I'm telling you, that was so incredibly overpowering that I couldn't get any transparency from it. It was highly, highly pigmented. So if you find that with one of your paints, that things are just too highly pigmented, meaning that you're not getting any of that beautiful transparency when you put it down on the paper, then just mark that tube that that's not good for the paste papers. Because you really want some of that translucency and transparent, almost a transparent quality. Okay, now I'm going to use, this is the System 3 Daler Rowney. This is fluorescent pink. Hi, Miss Allie K. Good to see you today. Oops. One of the things that I don't like about these fluorescent colors, this one and this one, from the same company, these are both Daler Rowney, and I like Daler Rowney paints, but the fluorescent colors stink so much. I don't know if that is if that's peculiar to fluorescent paint, if it's what they have to put into it to make the fluorescent quality. I don't know, but anyway, I don't like that, so I'm using them up. I'm going to put a little bit more paint. I'm going to guess that the ratio is about 1/3 paint to 2/3 art paste, but as I said, I don't have a specific formula. Maybe somebody else does. And by the way, this is not, I could talk to you while I'm doing this. This is not the official way of doing art paste paper. The official way is that you cook the paste. It's quite a lengthy process, and they do very exact patterns and things like that. I mean, you can go take classes at some of the adult summer camps where you can specialize in paste paper and do that for the whole time, you know. This is Barb's rendition of art paste, okay? That's what this is. This is metallic, Dazzling Metallics Emperor's Gold. So we're going to put some of that in. I love this color. I personally love the Dazzling Metallics. And I may squirt in a little bit of the Liquitex Copper. These two paints and the art paste don't blend very well together. I did discover that. But I like it, so, you know, I'll just put up with it. Dorothy says that she sometimes uses leftover thickened Procyon dyes for this. Yep, that's a great idea too. Yeah, this is one of those things where you know, I believe in doing things the right way, and I also believe in doing things the fun way. So, you know, like bookbinding, for example, there are very precise methods of bookbinding, and then there are ways of just making books for fun. And so I learned how to do bookbinding. I took a bookbinding class that was very meticulous and amazing, and I had a great time learning all the techniques. Most of the time, I have to tell you, I go back to the, you know, slapdash, let's get it done kind of way of doing it. All right, I need to grab a couple more. I need to grab some more paint, so like, give me just a second here. Okay, so I'm just pulling out some craft paints to use here. You can use literally any kind of paint to do this. You can use the gloss paints, you can use the flat matte paints. My friend that I learned this from years ago, she had a whole bunch of those liquid embroidery paints. And I know this is really going to drive you crazy with it's a little blurry because it's up high close to the camera. Anyway, she had a whole bunch of these liquid embroidery paints that were years and years and years and years old. Gouache. That's a good question, Judy. I don't know. I would think you could use gouache because these are all water-based paints. I don't know why it wouldn't work. I would definitely try it. Maybe somebody in the chat knows. Maybe somebody in the chat knows the answer to that. So anyway, she had these, I forgot, the Prochem or some, not Prochem. Anyway, it was some kind of liquid embroidery stuff, tubes of paint. And so she just decided to see if it would work. And so she used those with the art paste, and it was perfect. Yeah, perfect. Who knew, right? Okay, I think I can get 6 more colors in my tray, so we're going to just go ahead and do that. I might not mix up quite as much. I got a little heavy-handed with the art paste. And we'll see if we can not put in quite as much. And when I'm going to do paste papers, and I'm sorry about the blur that you're experiencing here, because I'm trying to do this where you can see it, but of course it's a little blurry. When I do art paste and paste papers and all of that, look, I emptied a jug. Oh, it's like the first jug I ever emptied. Don't worry, I have another. Yeah. Not to worry, we have another. So anyway, she used those embroidery chemical, whatever they were, paints, and they worked fine too. So, yeah. So try everything. Yeah, that's a lot of illegal fluids right there. That is a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to use here is this color. If you want to know the names of any of these specifically, let me tell me and I will get it. And I'm just using a wooden popsicle stick to mix them up. And I'm just going by the texture of the paint and the paste. If it seems too thin, I'm adding some more paint. Shannon, what have you been up to, girl? Hi, Packard-I. Good time, good time. Good to see you. We need to talk. We need to talk, girl. Shannon, what are you up to? You need to keep us all informed. You have been MIA, girl. And this one is Ceramcoat Glitter Pink. Okay. You can even use glitter paints with this. The glitter paints tend to be more transparent. I don't use glitter paint very much. I know. Shocker! So we're going to put it in this. I hope things are going well in your world, Diane. I've lost touch with you over the last few months. That makes me sad. So welcome to Drama Free Friday. Alright, so we'll give that glitter paint a go. See what it looks like. Okay, 4 more to put color in. Been up to this and that. Ah, Shannon's got new ideas, new projects, and fun stuff happening. That is tremendous. I am so happy to hear that. You're another one I'd love to catch up with again. We need to do something together again like we did. If you don't know, I have a playlist on the channel called Creative Chats, and both Packer Dye and Shannon Green have participated in Creative Chats with me. So you can go back in that playlist and see those. Both of those playlists. They are both of them on that playlist. See what happens when I'm stirring and talking at the same time? Neither one gets done very well. We do, Shannon. Do you have the same phone number that you had when we were working together the last time, or has that been changed? If it has, I will. I'll hunt you down somewhere and we'll get it sorted out. So Shannon's thinking about doing something live tomorrow. Cool. And are you going to do it here on YouTube, Shannon, so people know? Shannon does a great job with her live streams. For somebody who figured it out all by herself, holy mackerel, you do a great job. Seriously. It takes 3 men and a boy to get it going for me here. Actually, that's not true. It just takes one. One man and a boy. There you go. Okay. I need 2 more colors. So let me grab 2 more colors here. Hi, Marianne. Live on YouTube. Okay. Okay, Shannon. Good. Thanks. So if you guys want to be entertained by the fun and fabulous Shannon Green, she'll be on YouTube tomorrow. She's thinking about it. Do you have a time yet for when you might be on tomorrow, Shannon? Okay, that's a kind of an ugly orange. What color is that? Spiced pumpkin. Yum. Looks strangely like something I saw some other time in my life. Yes, 1 more color. Yeah. Okay, 1 more color. Let's do another metallic. So we're going to use this one. This is Aquamarine Folk Art Metallic. Yes, Josie. Yes, Josie. Except he's not a boy. Yeah. Only in my mind. Only in my mind. This is Elmer's Art Paste and Water to make the solution to start with, and then acrylic paints stirred into them to make the art paste, the colored art paste. And then we're going to make paste papers with them. Okay, so I have a pretty assortment of colors here, so I'll show them to you with a nice big icky thing in the bottom of that one. That's the one thing about acrylic paints that come out of little jars. Sometimes they get icky things that spill out of them. You know what I'm talking about, those dried up icky things. Okay, so here is I'm going to put my two metallic ones together. So here is my little assortment of colors, okay? Whoops. There you go. Now you can see them. So that's what I have. These two are metallic. All the rest of them are... Okay, I missed what Shannon said. Maybe 10 a.m. tomorrow. Okay. Central Time. Okay, so that would be 11 Eastern for Shannon. I know, don't they look pretty? Okay, so I have them sitting in a cake pan lined with foil. That's just to help me control the potential mess. I have a whole bunch of foam brushes. I will use one for each color. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in the little cups of paint. This is one thing. I have a dog named Muppet who is wonderful. She is like the best dog on the planet. This is one thing she cannot be trusted around, is foam brushes. She is horrible with foam brushes. She will eat these. It's just so annoying. Yeah, so I now have a little brush in every pot. That's pretty just all by itself, right? So the next thing I'm going to use is some texture tools. These are the only texture tools I'm going to use at the moment. I might do more later, but these are the only ones I'm going to use. There are links for these below the video, the broadcast window, so you can know exactly what I'm using. I'm going to use some paper towels, and also I'll have some baby wipes ready because I'm working on a big non-stick mat and it's going to get all filled up with paste, and so I'm going to need some baby wipes to clean it off periodically. Okay, so we got all that ready, and then I have my papers. So this is what I have for papers to work on. I don't know exactly which ones of these I'm going to work on, so I'm probably just going to grab what I feel like doing. These are what I call ugly scrapbook papers. Some of these are paperweight, some of these are cardstock weight. Now, let me tell you, let me just offer this up right now. You may look at these and think these were really beautiful papers and I need my head examined to say they're ugly. I get that. But to me, they aren't pretty. so it's either do something to transform them or, yeah, they just didn't make the cut in my world. So what I have done to these is I have put stencils on top. These are 12 by 12 ugly scrapbook papers to me. And I put a 12 by 12 stencil over them, and I used a couple of dilution sprays, which is highly volatile when it comes to water. Very reactive with water, which I love for this technique. So you're going to see what happens with that, okay? So that's what's happening here. There's usually a couple of stencils on each one of these. So this has been done ahead of time so that the spray has a chance to dry. This one wasn't too bad, but I decided to mess with it anyway. Some of them have decorative edges, which will be fun to play with. I mean, seriously, some of these are really bad. This one, I don't know what the deal is. I must have used a piece off of that because it's not even a bona fide 12 by 12, but yeah. Easter eggs. I will never in a million years use that. This has Mickey Mouse balloons. Yeah, so they look even worse right now. Right? Yeah, now the real thing starts. This was roses, a whole bunch of stars. This one said mother all over it. A bunch of words. I don't know what this one was. This is something Mickey Mouse in the background. So I went out in the garage, spread out a big piece of plastic, took several stencils, and this was a bunch of words. So this is just a whole bunch of words. Put the stencil down, sprayed over it with dilutions, and I want something that's highly reactive to water. That's why I use the dilutions. They're very intense, and they also will react with the water. And this one I love. Actually, I like this the way it is at the moment. So I have those ready to go. I also have colored paper. So this is paper weight paper. This is 20 or 24 pound, I don't know, but it's paper weight, not cardstock weight. And then I have some pieces of Canson mixed media paper that I brayered off to clean off my brayer when I was monoprinting. Yeah. So I have a couple of choices because I did this on both sides. So I have choices of color, whichever I want to use. And then I also have some of those 11 by 17 papers that I showed you earlier. So these are bigger than what will fit in the screen. And these just had some paint smeared on them from other projects. So these have just got some paint smeared on them. So that's what we've got. Okay, so let's just start with one of these just because we can. And the paper's curling a little bit because it's already been wet one time, but it'll probably smooth out for us. Okay, so let's go. See what happens here with this. This paint's a little glossy, so who knows what it's going to do. Okay. Trying to get it to lay down a little flatter. All right, let's give it a whirl and see what happens. So I just put a coat of paint on here. It's going to look kind of, it doesn't go down nice and smooth. Let's just say that. And it is going to start soaking into the paper right away. I'm going to attempt to put this all over this one sheet of paper, this one color. And then you grab one of the texture tools and draw a pattern into it, whatever kind of pattern you want to draw. Alright, so let's take this one, and I'm just going to draw a pattern like this. And then I have a paper towel handy, and I wipe it off, so I keep the tool kind of clean. And what the art paste does is it allows that paint to maintain its integrity and not slump back together to make everything one color again. Okay, so I've done that one design all the way across this piece of paper. See? And now this has got to sit and dry before I can do anything else to it. So it goes off the table onto the floor. And then I usually wipe over the table with the baby wipes just to get rid of the bulk of it. It's just, there's nothing fancy about it. It's just like 20-pound paper. It's nothing fancy. It's just paper. I got it at the copy store. Yeah. Okay, let's go for this hot pink on this one. So this is orange. This is that fluorescent pink that stinks. El Stinko. So we're gonna just, and literally slap it on there. Okay, slap it on. You do not have to use only one color. You can use more than one color. Let's use some of this glitter stuff and see what it looks like. So, slap her on there. You don't want great big puddles of paint. So, like I've got this one's a little too puddly. So I'm going to spread this out a little bit more because I got that I was a little carefree with the amount of paint I put on there. So I'm just kind of spreading the paint out a little bit. And before I get crazy, I'm just going to put it back in my little container, my little pan. And we'll this time we'll use this Martha Stewart striping tool. And because I'm working with big pieces of paper, maybe a little challenge to keep it where you can see it, but I'm going to do my best here. And I missed a couple of spots, so I'm just going back up and getting those. Okay, now you can let this dry exactly like this, which of course would be cool, or you can take something that has a different pattern of teeth. These are big and far apart, or these are very close together, right? And so for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the opposite direction. Okay, like so. And you see what a cool pattern you end up with? But again, because you're using the art paste, it makes that paint hold its integrity so it doesn't start slumping back together. So it thins it out, thins out the color, but it makes it hold its integrity, which probably doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but anyway, that's what it does. That is my story, and I am sticking to it. All right, let's do this one and see what happens. Have any of you tried this? I know Stephen has. What have I set up for drying the papers? Nothing other than I have on the floor, I have an old flannel sheet that's on the floor, and that's where they are. So this is not something I can do when the cats are out because they have too much fun walking around, tromping around on my papers. So it's nothing fancy. It's just something to protect the floor, basically. Okay, so we're going to add some of this dark blue. I think this might be ultramarine blue, but I'm not totally positive. So we'll put some of this on there. And then we'll use some of this metallic. This is aquamarine. And if I don't see your question, if you put a question in the chat in caps and I don't see it, please don't feel bad. Just type it in again. And I'll try to, I do try and keep up with the chat. Sometimes I'm not so good at it. I do try. And I'm just smoothing out some of the excess. Okay, so we have two colors on that. We have that like ultramarine blue and a metallic aquamarine. Okay, so for this one, you don't have to only do one pattern either. So let's say that's all I want to do with that pattern, so I can switch tools, and I have this one as well that I took the handle out of, and I can go this way and I can get a really fine pattern. And you can tell if the paste is starting to dry because you won't get any texture out of it. And if that happens, then you can just slap some more paste on top of it, or just let it sit, let it dry, and then once it's dry, then you can come back over the top of it with another color and do some more. Okay? Okay. So let's go to some of the ones that have the Dilutions ink on them. Because these are the ones that I absolutely enjoy so much. Let's use, I don't know what color this is, magenta, I think. So the first coat you put down, first coat of paste paint, it's going to start reactivating that ink. But the amazing part about it is it doesn't totally reactivate it, which is a complete surprise to me. And every color you put on this first one seals that ink, so it's not going to reactivate after that. But every color you put on after this drives those layers deeper and deeper into the paper, which I absolutely love. Okay, this color is not showing up very well. So we're just going to let it sit. There's some texture going on. Or let it sit and dry and then add another layer of color after a while. So not a horribly successful, but not a horribly awful one either. Let's go for, let's try this one. See what we get. Yeah, CB, that's a good point. You can make texture tools like these out of old credit cards. Like this. So the ones that are kind of like papery credit cards are the easiest ones to use. But you can make the texture tools out of those as well. Okay. Did I miss a question? If I did, please put it in again. I will try to look a little more carefully. So this also has the dilutions, and you can see some of that reactivating a little bit more on this. This is cardstock. Okay, so I am really moving, slapping that paint on there. Okay, I prefer the teeth that are wider apart. And again, I can see some of the texture happening up here, some here, but you don't see it everywhere. But as the paste begins to dry, these change as they dry, and they start to make the layers of ink go deeper. And every layer of paint you add on top of this, it's just phenomenal to me how they transform. And how that Dilutions ink doesn't just run all over the place. That's just, I don't get it, but yeah, I love it. Okay, let me stop and look at the chat a second. Okay, Signa, what did you say? Oh, thanks, I'm glad you like the colors. I'm just scrolling back in the chat for a minute. You made out of my inspiration. I'm not sure I understood, Signa. I may have missed something. That's entirely possible. Okay, let's go to another one. Let's try this one. Again, sprayed with Dilutions ink. Let's go with this, let's go with something that's highly contrasting. Can you tell me if you can use, I'm sure you can use any kind of ink spray. I'm sure you can use anything. The reason that I chose the Dilutions, first of all, it was the first thing I got my hands on, and I started doing this with the Dilutions a long time ago. You know, I just decided to try it and see what would happen. I assumed, wrongly, that the Dilutions was going to reactivate and was going to be this horrible mess, but I wanted to just see what would happen. And much to my shock, it didn't. It wasn't a horrible mess. It didn't totally reactivate. You get some movement with it, which I like because it creates more interest. However, that doesn't mean that you couldn't use something else, you know? So my philosophy is to always try everything. Just because I have success, you know, with one thing doesn't mean that it's the only thing to use, you know? Okay, so that completely transformed that paper. Completely, right? I mean, it doesn't look anything like that scrapbook paper. Now, this paper is really wet and quite fragile when it's in this state, so handle them carefully. Yeah, you can't, I'm sure that's true. You can't get the Martha Stewart stuff there, so you can just, you know, instead of buying tools, then you have to find a way to make them or find a substitution. Oh, you made your tools from your, gotcha, got you, okay. Now I got it. I'm slow sometimes. Let's take this one. And let's go over it with, let's go with this, this is bright aqua green. This one didn't mix up well at all. So we're going to have to do a little mixology here with the sponge brush. Can use dye ink pads. I don't know. I really don't know why not. I would, like I said, I would try it. I mean, it's, you know, here's my philosophy. This is stuff I wouldn't use anyway. So if it turns out to be something I absolutely hate, I didn't lose anything because I didn't like it to begin with. You know what? I just didn't like it to begin with. So it doesn't matter. If I end up with something I don't like, that's okay with me, because I didn't like it anyway. So my philosophy is always try everything and just see what happens. Sometimes I get the best things, you know, I get the very best results when it's something I totally did not expect. And I go, oh, you're kidding me. I can't believe that worked. You know? Okay. So, let's just do this. And sometimes you can't see what's happening. You know, you can't see it, the first layer. I can see this one. I'm sure you guys can't see it, but I can see this, but it's very light. Let's see if I can catch it. Can you see the some of the texture in the light? But I'm sure you can't see that one very well, but there is some there. You do need to have plenty of floor space or drying space when you're doing stuff like this. Let's go for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch cameras for a second. So you can see what I've got going on. Hi Monique, good to see you. Okay, so hopefully you can see. I know it's a little blurry, but yeah. So can you kind of see what's happening down there? So that's what I have drying on the floor. Okay. Just so you can see. Okay, so we're gonna go to this one. Let's use let's use this somewhat yucky color. I like orange, but this is kind of a strange orange coming over this kind of purpley color. It could be interesting. But do you see how it's not totally dissolving that highly reactive, water-soluble ink? It just amazes me. But anyway, and this is metallic gold. It's a little bit, this process is a little bit like jelly plate printing or mono printing with a gel plate of whatever kind you use. It's a little bit like that, but different. It's the same alike, but different. Well, you can't do them vertically because the paste is too, you have to let it really get set before you can put them vertically. Okay, let's go this way. Because they, you know, if you let gravity get involved before this is really set up, you're gonna cause yourself some problems. Some of these papers that I've done in the past, I think that's the ugliest thing I ever did in my entire life. And I just keep working and keep working and keep working, and then I go back to do the second layers of color on them, and I look for the ugly paper and I don't know where it is because it disappeared. So when they dry, they change. Or as they dry, they change. Okay, let's go to this one. Okay, let's go to here. Let's do let's do this light blue. Now this is really wet stuff that I'm putting on here. This paint is really wet. And as I said, and these are just cheap scrapbook papers. They came in a big pad for like, I don't know, I might have paid $5 for this whole great big pad of these papers. Amazes me how they, it just amazes me, that's all. That's all. We'll just say it amazes me how they do. And they are some of my absolute favorite paste papers that come out of that pad of ugly paper that I never would have believed I would have enjoyed using for anything. I bought these years and years and years ago. I don't even remember what for. But then when I got into really doing the things that I'm doing today, I'm like, holy mackerel, what was wrong with me? What was I thinking when I bought that? But you see, you can still see the paper in the background a little bit. You can see the stencil coming through back there, but it's all, even at this, I think of it as like going underwater, you know, like this is on the bottom and then we see more, and you're swimming up above the water, and this higher, the higher you go, the more nondescript everything gets below the surface. Okay, let's switch to some of the brightly colored papers here for a second. So let's start with a piece of, whoops, not that. Piece of this paper. The green texture tool, there is a link to it in the description box below the video. The link that I found for you was on Amazon, but you might look in your local craft store if you have one. You might be able to find it in the art section. It's from Catalyst. It's a Catalyst wedge. There was a collection of 6 of the wedges in that link that I found for you. But you can buy them singly as well. What I do with the papers, I do all kinds of things with them. I use them for backgrounds. I use them. I've made books from them with just the paste papers. If somebody reminds me at the end of the show, I think I can put my hands on one of the books I made that is just for the purpose of displaying the paste papers. Somebody I'm sure will have to remind me because I might not remember. I use them for cards. I use them for all kinds of things. All kinds of things. This tool also is one that I use on the gel plates a lot. But see how pretty that is? Now you can use any other kind of tool as well. But isn't that pretty? See, I love that. Okay, let's grab another color. Let's go for this kind of yellow-green color. Monique says she got a set of texture tools from a teacher store for kids' crafts. It works too. Good. Excellent. I've seriously got to use up this color. That is not my favorite. That is not my favorite color. Okay, this could go horribly wrong because blue and orange are not friends. Alright, and I'm going to let that one sit exactly the way it is and dry, and then I'll do something else on top of it. So for something I thought was going to be really ugly, I kind of like it. Yeah, who knew? Who knew? And after a while, your baby wipe has to be replaced because it goes too far. Too far, too far. Okay, let's do... I have not used this color at all, and I mixed up a whole big bunch of it because I don't like it. Yeah, let's see what happens. Yeah, I still don't like it, but, you know, hey. Might turn out to be my favorite paper, you never know. Yeah, you can use these papers any place that you would use paper in any creative endeavor that you like. You know, if you are a scrapbooker, you could use them in scrapbooking. If you're a card maker, you could use them for cards. If you're a collage artist, you could use them in collage. I'm really none of those things. So, yeah, I'm really none of those things. I'm going to put a little bit of this glitter stuff on here too. This is what I'm flicking on the surface there is glitter paint. Now really, that turned out to look pretty cool. Who knew? Who knew? Yeah. Who knew? Okay. Let's do one of these big pieces of paper that I have. I've got two of them here, or three actually. And this is from the Canson Mixed Media tablet, and this is 98-pound paper. And I'm just going to pull out these because that's going to irritate me. And these have acrylic paint on them already. So we have this side or this side. We'll do this side. This is where I cleaned off the brayer when I was jelly plate printing. So let's go with a light blue. Something that is a contrast. I know, isn't that funny? Some of the combinations that you work with, you go, oh, this is going to just be awful. And I'm telling you, the ones I think are the worst turn out to be my favorite papers. They really, I'm not exaggerating. They really do. Like, craziest thing ever. Okay, so we've got light blue, and now let's use this citron green. And this is a big piece of paper, so you gotta kind of move. The bigger the paper, the faster I find that you have to move. So one of the things that this process forces you to do is to get out of your head, because everything starts drying, and if you dilly-dally around too long, you're not going to get success. Okay? So you got to get out of your head. All right, let's see if I can make this happen here. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. All right, let's go the other way. And some of these I'm fine with just having one layer of the color because it's got stuff underneath. Like this one, I may be fine with it and say, no, that's fine, I'm not going to do anything else. Then again, I may come back and do something else over the top of it. All right, let's do another one of those. Are you getting some ideas for how to work with this stuff? Yeah, and if you like the original of something, you know, don't feel like you have to do anything else to it, you know. I use lots of these brayer papers as they are. I love them, you know, as they are. Okay, so we have red and whatever, and this. We'll do this one since it's got paint all over it. Edge to edge, it's got paint, edge to edge. So we'll do this one. Okay, so on this one, let's use this bright aqua green. I find often that I'm the happiest with contrasting colors. Alright, so we've got that one, and let's just use this metallic. So kind of the same color but in metallic, so let's use that. So if you are watching this and you happen to be a bona fide paste paper artist, don't faint. Because I'm just having a good time. So just kind of smoothing out the paint a little bit where I've got some big glops. Now you can of course use bigger, you can use all kinds of other tools as well to do this. Just because I'm only working with 2 or 3 tools doesn't mean that that's what you have to do. And the way that they turn out always surprises me, I have to say. How many times can I say that? Thanks, Travis. Okay, so there's that one. Okay. So you can see. So if you're watching the recording, you can scroll back. Actually, you can scroll back in real time. If you forgot what this looked like before, you can scroll back in real time and take a look. All right, let's go back and see if anything I did to begin with is dry yet. This one is pretty dry. Now, under most circumstances, I would let this totally 100% dry. For the purposes of showing you additional layers, I'm just going to pick up the wet, the wet spots so that I can put another layer on here. Hey, Patty, you can scroll back in real time. You can. Yep, you can. You absolutely can. Right here. Right there. Okay, let's take a contrasting color. Let's go with this metallic. Yeah. So we're going to go with the metallic. Are you sure? Did you try it? Because that was one of the big advantages to streaming on YouTube, is that you can go back in real time. Or you mean in real life? Real life. Gotcha. Got ya. This is also metallic. This is the gold metallic. Emperor's Gold. Dazzling Metallics from Deco Arts. Okay, so we've got a coat of 2 different metallics. Okay. So now let's go this way. Like so. Do you see how much that took that paper and changed it immediately? And yet you can still see the designs underneath, and as this layer dries you will see more of that. You'll see more of it. Let me get something else here. If you have these little style sticks, these come in wedges and with a round tip on them as well. You can use these also. For example, they're like a foam wedge. So let's say you want to do a large zigzag where you're taking off more of the paint. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about what's going to do what. I just it's kind of like the way I draw mandalas. I just go for it. And if you haven't signed up, a good segue, since if you haven't signed up for Mandala Madness course, be sure you take a look at Mandala Madness. You'll find the link coming up in the description, or in the chat as we're talking. I forgot to put the link in the description box, believe it or not. If Race is still here, maybe he'll do that, because I forgot. Okay, what did you say? Hi, Lindy. I do have a fairly big studio, but I'm not using too much space, actually, floor space, really. I'll show you again. Okay, those are the papers on one side I've got going on. That one blank space down there, I just picked that one up and put it on the table. So this one right here is the one we just did. Okay, that one we just did. Okay, so there's those. All right, now let me switch back so I can come to the other side. Get my cord spread out here just a second. And that's what's on the other side of me. So I'm not using up that much floor space actually. And you can see that sometimes the papers want to curl as they're drying. They will straighten out. And you can also dry them. Cardstock papers don't do that, but the paper weight, like the lightweight papers, those curl up. Okay. Sponsors love stuff like this. Oh, they love it. Hi, Eva. Nice to have you join us. Okay, so here's this green one that we got going on. Let's put yeah, let's do something real wild, shall we? Let's put pink on it. I got to use up this awful stinky paint. Got to use up the stinky paint. Ooh, this stuff stinks. Good grief. Mercy. Very stinky. Anyway, Mandala Madness is going on in full swing right now. The first live show and share class session, it's really a session, not so much a class as it is a session, that goes on tomorrow. So you're not too late to get into the first show and share. Classes number 3 and 4 go live on Monday. And every Saturday for the next few weeks we will be having the live show and share session. So you're not too late. You can join it at any time. So the link is popping up in the chat today every so often. You can click that link and it'll take you right over there. There's a bunch of people here today that are in the class, so they can tell you whether they like it. Can use texture plates. Not really. The texture plates, you have to be able to draw through it, and the texture plate really works better on the jelly plate, in my opinion. But that's my experience. Look at that. Okay, and then let's say you want to do something else on this. For me, more is more on this stuff. I like the more stuff on it, the better. So I love stuff like that. Yeah. I know, it looks more purple, doesn't it? Isn't that funny? Yeah. Anyway, there's that one. Now, when you're working on doing things like this, if you like a single layer of paint, there is no reason that you have to go and do more layers. This one has glitter on it. So some of that glitter is going to get buried. Some of it will show up. It's video, and you can show your things live right on the air, or you can share with me on Twitter. Either one works fine. Okay, let's go for this and see what happens. This is that metallic aquamarine. I love the layers of color. I try to make different colors. It's hard, and that's why I start with, usually at least 8 or 10 colors. In this case, I did 12. Because if you don't, you end up making everything look kind of the same. So you got to start out with enough range of color that you get some options, some choices. Okay, so let's go for this one. Let's do this smaller one. You guys can't see that nearly as well as I can. That's funny. Must be the reflective quality of the paint that's causing it not to be as visible on the camera as it is in real life, as we say. Okay, I'm going to reposition here and show you this one on the other camera so you can see it better. Okay, do you see what I'm talking about? I knew you guys couldn't see that very well. Isn't that cool? Look at that. Now, would you believe that that's how that was going to turn out when you saw it just a second ago? Yeah. Yeah, I love that one. That's one of my favorites so far. It's almost like an optical illusion. Cool, huh? Okay, let's take this one. And rearrange my junk again. Not my junk, my tools, This one's not quite dry, so we'll see what happens. Okay, let's go over this with, we're going to just jump to something that's just completely different. Now, this is one that had the Dilutions ink. So this is the second layer over that Dilutions ink. And the paint is staying absolutely the color that it was. It's not in any way mixing with Dilutions now because that's been sealed over. By the first layer of paint. Sorry, I got mid-sentence. I distracted myself. Thank you, Dorothy. Okay, let's go this way. And then let's take one of these wedges, and I'm going to take the big one, and I'm going to go the other way. And then maybe we'll take one of the smaller ones. So this is a smaller wedge. And we'll just put in a little pattern. Now, would you know, by looking at this stage, would you know that it was an ugly scrapbook paper to start with? They're actually some of my favorite things to start with because you have something to begin with, which I love. I know, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? How long does it take to dry? Sorry, Amelie, I just saw that. If you want to get it bone dry, you need to leave them sitting around for at least a couple of hours to get just totally bone dry. All right, the other day I was listening to Tim Holtz. I was watching him when he was introducing his new colors of the Distress Oxide inks. And he was talking about things getting crispy dry. If you want it crispy dry, you have to let it sit at least 2 hours. These are not crispy dry by any means. This one's still got some wet stuff on it, but we're just going to go for it anyway. Okay, let's go over this one with this pale blue. Thanks, Lorraine. Yes, I have the first set of the Distress Oxides. I do have those. I have not ordered the second set yet. And I don't know if I will do the complete set or just do certain colors. I haven't decided yet. Because the truth is, I have not had time to, with everything else going on, I just have not had time to do much with the oxide inks at all. So they're sitting waiting. They're waiting for me. I am anxious to play with them though and see how I like them, you know, what ways I want to use them, because you know everybody has different ways of doing things and different things that appeal to you, you know. So okay, so let's go this way with this one. Okay, so you kind of see it. And you see the circle pattern. That's from the stencil down below. So let's repeat that a little bit, shall we? Why not? Which you might or might not be able to see. Yeah, this is already dry up here, so there's no point in working on that. You have a short period of time, like this has already started to dry. Once that starts drying and the shine is going away, I don't know if you can tell that, but the shine is going away up there. It's still shiny down here. If it's still shiny, you can still work into the paint. Once you lose the shine like that, you can't. You have to wait for the next layer. Or the other thing you can do is immediately you can put on some more paint. So you can paint back over it if you want to. As long as the paper is not too vulnerable. Or the paper. I think I said the paint. Paper can't be too vulnerable. Okay, so there's that one. Pretty cool, huh? Who knew that that was ugly scrapbook paper? Okay, gotta switch. New baby wipes are required. No, Race, go away. Go away, Race. Put a big pile of glitter on it. Nope. I do have glitter paint here. What more do you want from me? What more? Okay, let's use the glitter paint just because Race is giving me a bunch of crap. This is glitter paint. We'll see if this makes him happy. The thing about glitter paint is it doesn't have much pigment. Sparkle, but not much pigment. So we'll put that up at the top. And then we'll add some gold. Let's add some purple. Let's do purple. I haven't been giving the purple much love here in the last few minutes. Let's give the purple down here. So be sure and go back, or if you want to, be sure and watch those other 2 paste paper classes. Those are sample classes from HowToGetCreative.com from the membership area. We put 12 sample classes here on YouTube so you can see what the classes are like. And I did link those in the description box below the video to the paste paper classes that I had done, recorded some time ago. And so yeah, you can look at those and see more techniques about more ideas and so forth. Okay, so there's that one. See how it transforms? And this will get very sparkly up in here because that is where the glitter paint went down. But every time you put another coat of paint on the papers, they get very limp and fragile again. So then they start drying and they start, you know, getting some texture back and so forth. Not good enough. He wants a big poof of glitter on camera. Yeah. Well, you can just keep thinking that. You can just keep wanting and wishing. If wishes were fishes. All right, let's go for a completely different color. Let's see. Let's go for... oh, let's use this lovely color. Yeah, let's use this and see what happens. No, Dorothy, but he's too far away. He's too far away. Oof, this has got that fluorescent paint in it that's smelly too. He's too far away. Besides that, I do, believe it or not, I do own glitter, but it's, I don't know if I've got some over here or not. I was going to say it's too far away from me, but it might not be. Okay. All right, let's go this way. Let's see. And And this one will get another layer of paint after this. So when I'm doing these, what I'm trying to do is alternate layers. So if I have one layer of real close pattern, the next layer I try to do something more open, you know, and just try not to repeat the same thing all the time, which is easier said than done. Bye, Ellen. Okay. All right, that is all that stack that got a second coat of paint on it. All right, let me see about the glitter situation over here. Hey, I have some distress glitter. Yeah, bet you didn't think I'd have that, did ya? Mm-hmm. Bet you didn't think I'd have that. Okay, we'll just pull this puppy back up. It's real good and wet. This one is really wet. I don't think this has even ever been opened. It hasn't. All right, hang on everybody. I gotta make Race happy. I gotta open the glitter. Because you know, if the technical department isn't happy, nobody's happy. You guys ever use distress glitter? I don't think any of these have been opened. I don't know. Anyway, all right. I may regret this decision. I don't know how it's distressed. I got nothing on this. I know nothing about this, except that I'm going to be sparkly and not very happy about it. And I'm telling you, this stuff better dry into this paint, because if it doesn't, I'm not going to be happy. And then it falls in the category, if Mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. All right, so we'll put a little bit of this one on this. Okay. So this color I used was pumice stone, and this one was peacock feathers. Are you happy, Race? Gold. Glitter cloud. No. You got glitter sprinkle. You got glitter sprinkle. Let me prove it. Prove it. Can you see the glitter sprinkle? There is a glitter sprinkle on there, folks. Yes, yes I did. Yes, yes I did. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate it. And I agree. Glitter is the herpes of the craft space. I read that online not too long ago. Now I'm going to have that bloomin' glitter all over me. I read that online. Was it Tim Gunn or somebody said that, made that statement not long ago, and I'm like, yep, you're right. It was somebody, I think on Project Runway, but I've forgotten. Anyway, it's been a while. All right, let's go for this one. Let's go for this poor pathetic thing, see what we can do to it. All right, let's go to hot pink. Glitter cloud, my. I almost said a bad word. He almost made me say a bad word. Let's use some of this. This is the metallic aquamarine color. to leave that one nice and blendy. I do own glitter. Sadly, I admitted it. Yeah. I do own it. I own quite a few little pots of it, actually. You just never see me use it. It is not my thing. But since we're here, we'll sprinkle some of this in it. What's this? Festive berries. Okay, that's enough. Yuck. That's enough, people. That's enough. It's got some glitter in it. Yes, it does. You probably can't see it, but I can. Yes. I know, I did use glitter, and I quickly put the lids back on it. I think Shannon might feel the same way about glitter that I do, but I'm just guessing. Okay, this one, what I want to show you about this piece, I don't know. Yeah, you can see it right there. That is glitter from the glitter paint, okay? So we know that's not coming off because that's in the glitter paint. Yeah, that is as close to glitter as I usually get. Okay, let's go to a different color, shall we? What color shall we use? Let's go to, how about if we use gold, since we've already got glitter on there. Let's go for broke and put gold, glittery paint on it. Whoops, I just splashed that everywhere. Maybe we'll put some of the aquamarine one on it as well. What do you think? Think that's a good idea? I think it is. Hey, Vicky. Everybody loves Shannon. We do. We loves our Shannon. And if you're watching the recording and don't know who we're talking about Shannon Green, the infamous Shannon Green, who said she was going to try to stream tomorrow about 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 Eastern in the morning. Can't hold her to it, but that's what she said. Okay, so we got that far. Let's do some loop-de-loops, shall we? And then maybe we'll just do, I like doing these little wedge shapes here and there. Because we can. As long as the paint stays wet, you can manipulate it. It's when it starts to dry, and there is no doubt about the fact that it's getting dry because it doesn't move. So as long as the paint moves, go for it. Draw in it, play in it. Just be aware of the fact that you may be if you're on paperweight paper, as in 20-pound paper or 24-pound paper, it may be a little too susceptible to breaking apart. Okay, so there's that one. And remember, this started out originally as a pink piece of hot pink paper. Turns out pretty cool, doesn't it? And in these places where I've scraped back the paint, you'll see that glitter coming up. Yeah. Okay, so there's that one. And let's go back to this poor thing that's all crinkled up. I don't know what made it decide that it was going to be so ornery. And this is probably going to be about the last piece of paper that we're going to do today. And I have a mountain of paste paint mixed up, so I'll be doing paste paper for quite a while today. Come on, cooperate with Mama. Cooperate. When I get paint on it, it'll straighten back up. But this will just give you the idea of how you can mess around with art paste and acrylic paints and make some paste papers to use in your art. And then I will get a couple of things to show you, finished things. Sponsors may not make a showing today because I got wet stuff all over the floor. We'll see. Could be a little too dicey today. The fan must really be blowing on this one section of the paper, because right up here is where it dries so fast, in the upper left hand corner. Yeah, that's not working. Okay, so as I said, if something doesn't work, you can either let it dry or you can just paint back over it. So that's what we're going to do. Hasn't fully dried, you can paint it out and do it again. Okay, that's better. I'm happier. Hello, Linda. Am I creating something with them next week when they're dry? I don't know. I don't know what next week will bring. You never know. Okay, so we're going to move this one out of the way. But you saw how as soon as that paper got wet, what I did with my baby wipes. As soon as the paper got wet, it straightened right back, laid right back down. Okay. I'm going to clean up the table a little bit. Sometimes stamping works. If you're talking about stamping into the wet paste, sometimes the stamping works really well. I found that using the foam stamps works the best of anything. So yeah, sometimes it works. You just kind of, it's like anything, you just kind of have to play with it and see. Okay, let me go tiptoeing through the paste papers over behind door number 2 over here and get a couple things. So everybody behave and have fun for just a minute. I'll be right back. The paste papers are beautiful if they're die cut also. So they make, if you have a die cutting machine, whether it's a manual one or a computerized one, you can die cut things and they're just beautiful. The tool that I was using for the circles, they're called style sticks. I wasn't planning on using them today, so I didn't put links below in the description box, but they're called style sticks. Looking for, I don't have a name on here. They're by the company Low Cornell style sticks, and they come in different shapes. They're a foam, kind of a foam tip thing. You have to keep the acrylic paint off of them or they will go hard on you. So here are some things I've made from, let's see, I have a couple of cards too. Let me get those just a second. I don't do fancy cards with lots of layers and stuff like that. I do cards like this where I just make the cards, you know, make the card front, put it on a card base, and Bob's your uncle, it's all done. These are 2 pieces of paste paper that are woven together. You guys are funny. These are paste papers in here as well. Let me give you a close look at those. So these are paste papers, so you can look at those. Having watched me today, you can tell some of the different techniques that are in those. Like this is using the style sticks, or you could use an eraser from a pencil. You could use any number of other tools as well. What you see showing through down here, that is ink from the dilution sprays. Okay, there's that one. Here's another one. So there's another one. All right, that's that. And here's a little accordion book. There's a few jelly prints in here, but for the most part, most of these are paste papers. So both of these are paste papers. So this book is just to highlight the paste papers. So it's an accordion book. I did cut the paper. After it was all done, then I cut the paper down to the size I wanted. This is using a wood graining tool with the art paste. This is a wood graining tool. You can get those at a paint store. That makes this pattern. This one. Okay. And then it keeps going. This is paste paper. This is with that same aquamarine paint that we used today over whatever was on underneath it. So the book keeps going. So all of these are paste papers. Okay. And then you're back to the beginning. So there's that. Here's another one. This is also an accordion book done with paste papers. Scooch out a little bit so you can see it. This was one of my favorite paste papers I ever did. I wish I could do it again. No idea how I did it. Can't repeat it. It's one of my favorite pieces ever. You can also do paste papers on text papers. You can use newspaper. You can do them on magazine papers. This is also one of my favorites. I love this one. Love that piece of paper. And I like this one too. You know, you just sometimes have your favorites. So these are all pieces of paste paper to create that book. So this book, because it's an accordion, can be, you know, you could stand it up someplace so you can see all the pieces at once, and then you can turn it around and you can see all the pieces on the other side. Same thing for the other one that I just showed you. And then this is a book that was bound together. Everything in here is paste paper except the binding. This is locker hooking, and the locker hooking class, sample class, is here on my YouTube channel. Not doing the binding, I mean, but it's nothing, there's nothing fancy about the binding. I just did a piece of locker hooking and glued it on to cover the spine. And everything in here is paste papers, so I won't bore you with going through every single page because this is a lot of pages of paste papers. But this entire book, that's the only purpose of these books I'm showing you, is simply to show off the paste papers. But as you look at them, you can see the stencils down below, and you can see the Dylusions inks down below. If you look carefully, you'll see them. See? Those are all Dylusions inks. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Another one of my favorites. Anything with that circle stencil, circle grid stencil, is lovely in my book. Okay, we'll skip through some of these. Here's another one. And the way that this was bound, I stitched them together through a piece of Tyvek. That's what you see showing there. So all of those pieces were stitched through Tyvek. You can see the stitching in there. And then that's why I had to have something to cover the Tyvek, so I used a piece of locker hooking. Nope, you don't have to sit in a locker. You just have to have a locker hook. It's a special kind of hook. I love this one because of the texture. So yeah, we'll flip through some more of those. So you can see some of them are kind of monochromatic. That's a lace stencil. Some of them are pretty monochromatic. That one will knock your eyes out. But that is what this whole thing, oh, this one right here, somebody asked about stamping. This one I stamped with the end of a spool. That's what that is. So I stamped with the end of a spool into the wet art paste. and paint. And this is where I drew through the paint with one of those wedge tools. And this is a piece of plastic canvas that I cut the middle out of. It was a round piece of plastic canvas, and so forth. And then we're at the end. And I love this one too. Anyway, there's the end. Yeah. The ones Nancy asked if I ever wrote in those I don't write in, because the whole purpose of those is to have available to show for classes with the technique. So those I don't write in. Yeah, those I don't write in. Yeah, it's just, it is, what happens is if I put the paste papers in a plastic box, I keep those big 12 by 12 scrapbook boxes, and that's where I put all my papers, whether they're jelly print sessions or the paste paper sessions. That's where I put them. And so if they're in those boxes, it's fair game. I will use those for whatever I want to use them for. So if there's one I particularly like, I will save it, you know, and immediately put it in something else so that, you know, I showcase it somehow in a book. And the big pieces, those 11 by 17 pieces of paper, those are too big for those 12 by 12 cases. And so I store those on a skirt hanger. Put a bunch of them together and put them on a skirt hanger. So there's the link for Mandala Madness. So if you have not yet signed up, we'd love to have you join us. Absolutely. And yeah, that is going to be it. I'm not going to get the sponsors out today. So you guys, they're safely tucked away behind door number 1. Yeah. They're safely tucked away where they can't get into the pasty, painty goodness that's all over the floor at the moment. So you guys will just have to take my word for it that they're just fine. So tomorrow is Mandala Madness Show and Share session, live session. Your email will come to you with the link. The VIP class is on Sunday afternoon, so it's a busy weekend for me. I'm sure it'll be busy for you too, and I hope you have a wonderful, absolutely wonderful weekend. Thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to come check us out at HowToGetCreative.com. We are a membership website where we have all kinds of creative arts classes that range from sewing to painting to doll making to hand stitching, machine stitching, and all kinds of stuff, and art supplies, and it's a lot of stuff. So come over and check us out. Thank you so much for everybody being here. Those of you that I haven't seen in such a long time, thank you for coming and hanging out with me. It's great to see you. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for being here. We ran a little bit long today, so it was fun for me, though. I hope you enjoyed it, too. All right, I will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.